Alright, so I walk the dog out in the woods behind the house every day, and right now he's beside himself. I just heard him bark. And he doesn't normally do that. He's never been much of a barking dog, and at any rate I train my dogs not to bark unless there's an absolute reason to. So I knew something was up, and he has treed a weasel, which is pretty cool. I'll try to get it on camera. I don't know if this will go in close enough. Okay, so he's treed the weasel. It's right there on that branch. Sorry, my phone's so shaky. If I can hold it steady. Right there. He's off hunting something else now. But he was just trying to climb the tree. Weasel's looking at me now like, what's going on? Good boy, Ziggy. Ziggy will try to climb the tree to get him. You got him up there? I think he's trying to come down, bud. Good boy. Let's see if I can get closer. They're pretty mean, Ziggy. You don't want to catch him. You better hope he stays up there, bud. I don't think you're fast enough or mean enough to catch a weasel and come out okay. Come on, bud, we'll leave him to it. He's all right. He's up in a tree, not hurting anybody. All right. When it comes to late fall and winter, it's a good time to try to catch up on projects that always get put on the back burner during the spring and summer when the garden and outdoor work takes precedence. And I've really been making some great progress. I got my workshop, I'll say 85% organized. I've got the garden room in the basement looking really great. And the other day I decided, it's probably too dark to see, which is a big part of the problem today, and I decided I want to try to tackle this. Come on, Ziggy. I want to try to tackle this furnace closet area where our oil tank and water heater and all that stuff is, and this has become a catch-all. Our camping equipment is on those shelves, sort of outdoory stuff. It's just a total mess back here, and that's been relatively okay. It's frustrating, but as it's become more and more messy, it's become worse and worse. So anyway, the first thing I wanted to do was hang a new light out here, and you can't really see it, but there's a new light right there. And what I did was just kind of daisy-chain it onto the end of this light. I should say that electricity is one of those things that has always flabbergasted me. The same with plumbing. Neither of them make intuitive sense to me. Electricity I've become a little bit more confident with through the work that I did in construction and just over the years trying things and building up a little bit of confidence. So anyway, I decided to hang this light. Very simple project. It'll take 20 minutes, and that 20-minute project turned into an entire wasted day 2 days ago, and very, very frustrated because when I wired up the light, Ziggy, what's up, buddy? When I wired up the light and flipped the breaker back on, all the lights on this side of the basement went out. Didn't work. So that was very frustrating. I undid the light that I had hooked up, put everything back the way it was, and still things wouldn't work. I tested the breaker, and that wasn't the problem. So in the research that I was doing, I've discovered that usually when something like that happens, it means there's a problem somewhere in the series. And I discovered last night, while I was still trying to find out where it was, on a 15 amp breaker in the circuit panel, all of the lights in this half of the basement, which are on a 3-way switch, and all of the lights in the upstairs half of the house, this half of the house above us, are on the same breaker. Now, I don't know if that's correct or if it's a problem, but it seems like a lot. And more importantly, it's frustrating to have lights in the kitchen and dining room and entryway and hallway attached to 3 lights down here, so that if I have to shut something off in the basement, the whole half of the house goes dark. Which I discovered last night when I flipped the breaker to try to troubleshoot down here, and I heard Lizzie go, "Ah!" So I ran upstairs to see what was wrong, and it was dark. So anyway, very frustrating to have what should be a pretty simple project turn into this multi-day, several trips to the hardware store cluster. So today's task is, once again, to try to figure out this problem. I think I've found where the issue is, and it's a faulty switch. I hope that fixes it. Okay, I flipped the breaker. Moment of truth to see if I did this right, or if this was the problem. Yes! Woo! Okay, super psyched. That is awesome. Every time something like that happens, that's what builds up your confidence a little bit more for the next time. Of course, I have to keep a frame of reference that this was supposed to be a 5-minute project, and it turned into a 3-day project, and I still don't have the new light. So what I'm going to do now is try again to put this new light in by daisy chaining it onto that other one that now works. Hopefully that won't ruin the whole thing. Okay, so I've rewired the new light into that one, which was what caused this whole problem in the first place. Or it wasn't what caused that. Something was wrong with that switch, and whatever the problem was just highlighted when I tried to put this back on. So I fixed the switch, and that seemed to get power back to all the existing lights. So now I reattached the new light to that one. So now I'm going to flip the breaker and see what happens. Yes! Woo! That is awesome! Alright, so I fixed that issue. The last thing I want to do, these switches have been open since we moved in. This was what was on the wall. No plate or anything. And this is a basement, so it's not a big deal. But I figure while I'm doing this, I might as well put a plate on this. The only issue is that, well, maybe that won't be an issue actually. I didn't even look at it. I'm just not sure if this plate would fit over this switch because it's got a dimmer on it, which I don't want or like. So while I'm here, I figure I'll just look at this and see if I can fix it out. If it's going to be a huge pain, I'm just going to wait because I'm super psyched that I get that fixed and I don't want to mess it up again. So I'll just pull this aside and pull this out. I don't think that will fit over that double. Maybe it will actually. It just might. Maybe I'll try that first. Rather than pull this out and possibly mess things up, I'll save that for another time. The light switch works even though I don't want the dimmer. If this plate fits on it, fine. Okay, seems to fit. Okay, so this irritates me. I have white plate, white switch, off-white switch. That is going to drive me nuts. But I'm not going to fix it right now because, like I said, super psyched that I finally have all the lights in the basement. The new light that I wanted originally that started this whole escapade is on. So just gonna put this on and finish it. I have another switch, but because of I don't want to create another problem right now. I have other projects that I want to do, so hopefully later this winter, which probably translates into some years from now, I will replace this. We'll see how irritating it is every time I reach to flip on this switch, but right now I'm just super psyched that the lights work. I have this plate on, which is an improvement over what was here when we bought the place. And yeah, now I can finish this up and go do something else.